By a show of hands, who recognizes this animated character? Oh, that's a lot of people. That's because Disney pop culture has been ingrained in our society for decades. In the article, The Disney Renaissance, The Rise and Fall of a Generational Touchstone, author and film critic David Crow writes, the Disney Renaissance was a period of creative rejuvenation and transcendence that dominated American pop culture for more than a decade and still echoes like a particularly catchy melody 30 years after it began. Today, I'd like to share with you four of the films that made up the Renaissance, their box office earnings, nominations and awards, and other notable recognitions, and the cultural impact of its enduring legacy. But first, a brief history. Disney Animated Studios began in 1923 with brothers Roy and Walt Disney. They experienced commercial success with their first feature animated film, which was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, released in 1937. Disney continued to have success throughout the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s with many animated classics. But some point in the 70s, Disney began to flail a little bit, and they decided that they were going to shake things up with a new format for their animated films, giving them a more musical styling, which brings us to our first film. The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid, released in 1989, is based on the Hans Christian Andersen story of the same name. It earned $84 million at its initial release and $233 million in total worldwide box office. The Little Mermaid won the 1990 Academy Award for Best Musical Score and the 1990 Golden Globe for Best Original Score. Roger Ebert said in his review of the film, "Here at last, once again, is the kind of liberating, original, and joyful Disney animation that we all remember from Snow White, Pinocchio, and other first-generation classics." So now that I've taken you under the sea, let us go to the French provincial countryside for our next film, Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast, released in 1991, is based off a French fairy tale of the same name. The film earned $145.9 million domestically and $351.9 million worldwide. Beauty and the Beast won the 1992 Golden Globe for Best Picture and was the first animated film to ever be nominated for the Best Picture at the Oscars. Unfortunately, the film didn't take home the Oscar for Best Picture. However, they did win the Academy Award for Best Original Song. In the New York Times review of the film, critic Jane Mansland wrote, Walt Disney Pictures reinvented the animated feature not only with an eye for pleasing children, but also with an older, savvier audience in mind. Disney truly bridged a generational gap, bringing the genre new sophistication without sacrificing any of the delight. So, now that we've explored this film, let me take you on a magic carpet ride to explore our next film, Aladdin. Aladdin, released in 1992, was based on a century-old story of Arabian Nights. It earned $217 million domestically and $504 million internationally. It won 2 Academy Awards, Best Original Score and Best Original Song, and it won Best Original Song and Best Original Score at the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes also had created a special award to recognize Robin Williams' work in the film. He was also filming the movie Hook at the same time that he was recording the part of the genie. So now let us explore our final film, The Lion King. The Lion King, released in 1995, was considered Disney's experimental film because it wasn't based on any pre-existing stories at the time. Although some film critics would argue that it's Hamlet with lions, but art is interpretive. The Lion King won 2 Academy Awards, one for Best Original Score and one for Best Original Song, and it also won a Grammy for Best Male Vocal Performance in Can You Feel the Love Tonight. The Lion King earned a worldwide box office of $951 million, making The Lion King the most successful hand-drawn animated film of all times. So in conclusion, the Disney Renaissance was a comeback when animated films were largely overlooked. Disney films remain a significant form in pop culture as well as art and film, and Disney continues to reinvent itself with live-action remakes of some of their most beloved animated classics. My friend Rob is a tattoo artist, and I asked him once, Rob, what's something that you tattoo like the most on people? And he said, believe it or not, it's cartoons from people's childhood. It gives them a really strong sense of nostalgia, and then anytime they look at it, it makes them happy. So, if having a giant mermaid tattooed on your leg is not an indication of how successful an animated character has been in our pop culture, I don't know what else is. Thank you.